Hi, watching NewsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra, and it's the first day of the media show over the Shaheen Bagh protest. Two senior lawyers have been chosen by the Supreme Court to talk to protesters who are on a sit-in for over 2 months in Delhi's Shaheen Bagh against CAA. Senior advocates Sanjay Hegde and Sadhana Ramachandran will meet the protesters and try to convince them and persuade them to continue their agitation in another location so that commuters are not hassled due to road diversions and blockades. Former Chief Information Commissioner Wajahat Habibullah will help them in this task. The top court told the lawyer who represented the protesters that they can continue their agitation but not on a road that is used by a large number of people on a daily basis. This inconvenience has gone on for too long. The first day of mediation has begun. The Supreme Court made some very telling observation. The Supreme Court said that this cannot become a precedent. This is not something which can be allowed in a democracy. Secondly, you cannot use women and children as a shield to in fact get what you want. And thirdly, the Supreme Court also went on to say that people who are not concerned about the Shaheen Bagh protest should not be inconvenienced as a result of this sit-in which has lasted for over a couple of months. It's in fact touched the lives of not only the people in Delhi NCR but all over the country as well. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about that with our guest, KC Sharma of the BJP, with me in the studio. Ilyas Sharafuddin will also be joining us very recently. He's an Islamic scholar. Sumit Peer, political analyst, with me in the studio. Sarim Ali Khan, Jamia alumnus, right here with us. And last but by no means the least, Mr. Satish K. Singh, senior journalist. Sumit, let me start by asking you. Interlocutors have been appointed. Yep. They have a task cut out. What kind of a difference will they be able to make? Firstly, let's not forget they have the Supreme Court's backing. And secondly, let's hope that they are backed by prudence, logic and semblance.
I think, Vinny, the point number one, which is very important here, is what are the observations on the Honorable Supreme Court? Protest is illegal.
I quoted three
you
of them.
Cannot, you quoted, right? So,
yeah.
We'll not repeat that.
Yeah.
So, now, what do the protesters of Shaheen Bagh want? Honestly, Shaheen Bagh protest has started hitting the law of diminishing returns. Political, it is not a fad what it used to be 2 months back.
In the budget,
right. It is not that. Delhi elections are over. Now, funding would be going down. None of the political parties or politicians is going to Shaheen Bagh.
So you're saying now, the steam is wearing down?
I think my dadis over there, my dadis over there need to go home. We have to give them a face, and I think God has sent them these two interlocutors. Let them go back home. Let them continue the protest and leave the roads. They can continue. I am not sure stop the protest. They want to continue with the protest, but let the life flow. Let the things happen. By doing this, by going against the Honorable Supreme Court, by being adamant, you are only defeating your cause. Because I said on numerous debates, Vineet, no politician is going to go there.
Okay, we have a big panel. I have to get everybody's opinion. KC Sharma, what do you make of this? It's finally time for these protesters to let go and let the law of the land prevail as well, because this is nothing but a case of holding the city ransom, hijacking a public spot which belongs to everybody, not just them, and making an agenda out of something which was duly passed by the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha by a government which was elected by this country.
Actually, whatever is going on in a Shaheen Bagh, that is the result of the misinformation campaign. But we are very, very positive for the outcome, because Honorable Supreme Court has categorically they have emphasized it like there are two things. One, it cannot become the proceeding, like nobody else can replicate it and cannot take it as a granted.
Absolutely.
Number two, children's and women's cannot be used as a shield to block the road, block the public property, and to occupy the public places. So I think the women and the people who are sitting over there, they will honor the Supreme Court, they will understand the thing, and they will free the area. And if they want to continue the protest, then they can continue on to the designated places. There are the designated places in Delhi, they can sit and they can continue. But I'm sure, because now the politics of few parties has been already done, so it will also not even continue on to the designated places.
I saw you nodding your head very animatedly to what Mr. KC Sharma was saying. What do you make of this new twist? The Supreme Court has stepped in. In fact, the Honorable Supreme Court has stepped in many times when the country has found itself, if I can use the word, stuck in a predicament, and this was also a predicament of a very big magnitude. Let's not forget that 2 to 3 lakh people are being affected as a result of this sit-in on a daily basis.
Not only 2-3
lakhs of people are losing livelihood. Lots of businesses are losing money as well.
Affected.
Okay.
2-3 things.
Yeah.
One, please don't misread my nodding. So I have a different point of view. Number one. Number two, you see, right now the demand of the time is, the call of the time is that you should have a interfaith or religious dialogue. There is no question about it that someone can take everything to ransom and occupy the public place. You have a moral accountability to the people at large. That is taken. Even Mahatma or Anna had a designated place to fast.
How badly has the police failed? In controlling the situation. After all, it is the centre's responsibility to maintain law and order. This has already set a wrong
everybody's responsibility.
This is already set a very wrong responsibility.
It is everybody's responsibility. It's not only about the centre or the state government. It's not. When you tell me.
But should the police be pulled up?
I don't really think so. The police work on some command, some command, Then it's all about faith, It's all about dialogue.
Okay.
One point more.
One point more. If
the big leaders are resorting to kind of a, I would say, competitive or say cooperative, even competitive and some shade of cooperative, soft communalism, thing doesn't work out.
Okay. All right. In fact. Ilyas found something funny. I'll come to that in just a bit, but before that, let me also get an opening reaction from Sarim Ali Khan on this. Sarim, what do you think? The interlocutors will be able to convince the protesters to, in fact, finally give in and agree to something which is perhaps going to be more suitable for the government as well as appeal to the protesters?
Look, the matter is in the Supreme Court now, and we all should respect the Supreme Court decision. What now Supreme Court has appointed the mediators, and what I know that they haven't been to the site yet. So what I think that from tomorrow they might start a dialogue. So let's wait and watch what the protesters and the mediators, share the things, and then how they're going to sort it out. But as far as the thing is about why we were sitting on the road and blocking the road, when you talk about all the protests that had happened before in India, if you talk about Quit India movement or Salt Satyagrah, they all started from the roads. So you cannot just blame that why are we sitting on the roads and
You can't compare Quit India to what's happening in Shaheen Bagh. Okay, well that's a false equivalence.
I'm not
at the same time.
I'm just giving you
all right,
example,
that's a very bad example. But then nevertheless, it's all right. Ilyas Sharafuddin, what do you make of Shaheen Bagh? Finally, it is time for these people to let go. बहुत कर ली protest. अब दूसरों का भी दुखड़ा समझो. ये बात समझने की कोशिश करो. Lakhs of people are being affected as a result of this sit-in. It's a law that has been passed, and with this magnitude of a protest, you cannot eventually affect the law or change the law in any which ways, as is.
See, I would like to say that disparate times demands disparate measures, and when the constitution and its credibility is at stake, and when there are millions and millions of people who are going to be affected with this particular law, then obviously disparate measures will be seen on the ground, and one of the measure is Shaheen Bagh protest or tens of Shaheen Baghs throughout the country. And the second point I would like to raise is, when you are passing the law, you need to know the pros and cons of it on the society. The present establishment is unaware of it, I believe, or wanted to ignore it. That is the dangerous part, destroying the nation. And one more thing, that today Supreme Court should be more proactive for the rights of the UP people also who got killed, 20 plus people by the police over there, and should be also proactive regarding the Kashmir human rights issue where millions are blocked. So even that also Supreme Court should take action, I believe.
Okay, Ilyas Sharafuddin, Sumit saying that it is the government's responsibility to sort this out, and these protests are a democratic right, and every democracy in the world has to honor a democratic voice regardless of the area they sit in, regardless of the place they occupy.
For a change, I agree with Ilyas Sharafuddin. We don't usually agree. I mean, you have a democratic right to protest, Ilyas bhai. Go and do it. Go and do it at a place where you don't block a road, where you don't cause inconvenience to the people. Pick up a park, pick up a Maidan and go and protest there. I have no problem with that. Right. Nobody can deny you the right to protest. That is given. So my problem is when you start blocking the road, when you start giving the income, when you don't, when you say will not honorable,
If
honorable
the
Supreme
quantum
Court.
of the bill of that level, then they should go to that place, those places.
Yeah, they should go and continue with the
But the
protest. I'm
quantum
not
is
saying-
affecting the whole of India. The whole of India is at stake. Its
No,
integration
that
is at
is
stake.
what you think.
So for
That is what you
the
think.
level of protest
Ilyas,
should be of
Ilyas,
that
That is
level.
what you think.
Ilyas,
I'll
how
tell you,
was
Vineet,
examine
Vineet,
the
I'll tell
disease
you a
before
point. Today,
prescribing the cure.
Ilyas,
Indian
Ilyas,
National
wh-
Congress has extended support to Shaheen Bagh. You know why it is extended? Because they think if Shaheen Bagh stops tomorrow, their last bastion of hope to protest against the CA is gone.
Okay, that's a good point,
You know,
Ilyas.
that is why
Ilyas.
some people with vested interest want, unfortunately, those
Aren't-
old
aren't-
Dajis to be
aren't-
there.
aren't the people
they are
in
not there on
Shaheen
their
Bagh-
will.
aren't
They
the
are ready,
people-
they will honor the
Ilyas.
Supreme Court. They will talk to interlocutors. But people like Mr. Ilyas want them to be there because they want the media business to go on.
Okay,
They
Mr.
want
KC
tamasha
Sharma,
chalta
come in.
rahe.
Mr. KC Sharma, come in.
You're using them now. You are using them now.
India united, peaceful and
You are
secure.
using them now.
Unfortunately, the
Sorry.
present establishment is not cooperating.
Honorable Supreme Court has clarified everybody has a right to protest, and that's our fundamental right, and we respect it. And that is the reason for last 2 months government has not intervened, police has not used the force. That is the beauty of our democracy. The second part is you cannot capture, you cannot do the arajakta, anarchy against the law which has been passed by the parliament, both houses of the parliament. It was discussed in a depth. It was
No one
discussed
is
in a
doing
detail.
anarchy, bhai.
Government
Those
has
who are shooting at the
in
protesters, they are doing
detail
anarchy.
discussed and
Those
passed
who
on
are
the
saying
information to
goli
the
maro, they are
public.
doing anarchy.
It is known as a
Those who are saying they are
arajakta. It
Pakistanis
is known
and
as the
anti-nationals, they are doing
arajakta.
anarchy.
When you occupied the public roads, when you occupied the public infrastructure, when you do not let the
Public roads for
people
the security of the
pass
public.
on, use the roads,
Occupying the
and
roads
when
of
you are
India for the
affecting
security
10
of
to
India.
15 lakh
Karim, go
people
ahead.
daily,
If we
when
have
you
occupied
are
the
when you are
roads, we
adding
haven't
on 2
occupied
to
the
3
roads
hours in the
from
life
last 2
of
3 days.
everybody,
The
brother, you
protest
are
that has
just
been
1
happening
minute,
from
1 minute
last
more.
2
You
days.
please continue.
Okay,
Half minute
affecting
more,
millions
half
and
minute
millions
more,
and
and
saving
you were
millions and
equating
millions
it
of Indians.
with the
Millions
agitation
Indians.
which
That is a
which
good
were
thing.
happened
That is a
before
good thing, I believe.
before the independence. You are linking it with the Quiet India movement. Is it that serious?
Don't you think it's that serious?
No, CA
you
is
think
just
CA
giving
is
the
a big
rise to
problem?
the minority of
Don't you think
minority
CA
of the
is a
Pakistan,
problem?
Afghanistan,
Don't you think
and
CA
Bangladesh.
is a
CA
problem?
is
Religion
not
is a
depriving
religion.
anybody.
Religion is
CA is
dividing
not
India
against
only
anybody.
two parts. You are
And
dividing
the
India
people
many,
who
many,
are
many, many.
protesting, they are also
You need to understand one- you need to listen to me too.
0.001%. Even the Muslims
Mr.
do
Sharma,
not have the
Mr.
problem
Sharma.
with the CA.
Mr. Sharma, let him finish.
CAA is clearly discrimination among the religion. You need to
How it is
Because
discrimination? How it
because
is
our
a discrimination?
constitution
Can you
clearly
tell me
says that
how
you
it is
cannot
that
discriminate
discrimination?
people because you mentioned only 6
all the
religions.
nations are
Because
having problems
that
with
is the
CA.
logical reason.
Why? What's the
Let me
logical reason? Please
explain.
explain.
Let me
please.
explain.
Can I
In
explain?
1947,
Yeah.
partition happened. Partition happened on the basis of religion. Pakistan created on the basis of
two
religion,
nation
not on the basis of region. It was on the
Thanks to
basis of
Savarkar
purely
and
religion.
Jindal.
What about
And
India? Why we are
let
talking about
me
Pakistan? We need to talk
let
about
me
India.
speak.
Yeah, you can
Let
speak.
me
You-
speak.
Let him finish. I'll
On
give you
that
an
time,
opportunity. No.
on that time, the Indian leadership as well as the Pakistan leadership clearly promised the people, the minority
All right.
who stayed in the Pakistan, if
Okay.
you ever feel not secure into the Pakistan,
Well, even
you
Pandit
will
Jawaharlal
always
said
welcome in India. You will
That
get
was-
a right
that-
over here.
you
will
are
get
still
a
misquoting.
citizenship.
You are still misquoting the
And
statement.
no
That was not
misquoting.
about
Even
Pakistan.
the
That
Jawaharlal
was about
Nehru,
all the
even
neighboring-
the
one
Jawaharlal
second,
Nehru
one
first government did
You are
not
misquoting.
include
That was
Muslims.
that was
If you
about all the
included
neighboring
Muslims,
countries.
then entire
was
Pakistan. Do you
all
want
about the
entire
neighboring
Pakistan in
countries.
India?
You are not
Do you
making-
want
We-
entire Pakistan in
we
India?
want only
We are
those
not
people
Then what
in
is
India
the-
who are
then
facing
what is the
persecution.
use
not-
of
we are not-
dividing
be on the
the
basis
what
of
is it?
religion.
Why
We are
don't
not-
capture the
we are not
entire
making any
Pakistan?
progress.
You're not
We are-
understanding the fact.
We are not making progress.
It is not a fact.
Mr. Sharma,
Because
Mr. Sharma,
the
you're
question
not
is,
all right. Okay.
there's no
Question
problem
all right.
with Indian
Well,
Muslims.
do you want me
Why
to cut
you
your
are worried
audio?
about the
Do you
Pakistani
want me to
Muslims?
cut your audio?
Why you
Do
are
you want
worried
me to
about the
cut your
Pakistani
audios?
Muslims?
Hold on.
We
Sharma,
are not
worried about
against
the
Muslims.
Constitution. Okay, you can-
Constitution
no.
is not stopping anybody to take.
All right,
Indian
this is
citizenship.
childish, Mr.
Even the Pakistani Muslims.
Satish K saying,
Just see.
Satish K saying, it seems
Adnan
that it's very, very
Khan
evident,
got a
even amongst our panelists, that there is a lot of obfuscation, there is a lot of conundrum related to the CAA. why does it always end up invoking the constitution? Just think about the people who are being persecuted in Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. Why do you exactly, they are being persecuted because of religion. In fact, just today we heard a news about a girl in Pakistan, Mehak, who was married off to an Islamic boy, converted, and she's being sentenced to death because she renounced the religion of Islam and now she wants to go back to her parents. And these are the kind of people that the CAA aims to protect. Why is there so much confusion and conundrum as to what the novelty of this amendment is?
You see, it's all about faith again, I would say. I rely upon you, number one. Number two, if I don't rely upon you, there will be all sort of conundrum that you say. Number one. Number two, it's all about, when you treat a particular religion as a default collegium, that you take it for granted, and you have been taking it, the entire community, for granted for years, right? This is the second thing. Third thing is... Are you
saying that the Muslim community is being taken for granted in our country?
Yeah, by all the parties who they call themselves secular as well.
Okay.
And the third thing is, when they are resorting to majoritarianism, majoritarian tyranny, I would say, then the question of faith and reliability and coexistence and cooperation comes. The last thing what you said is the Pakistan is today isolated. Do we want to go Pakistan way, or do we have our own way of coexistence?
But no, wait, Mr. Sharma, you've
they
spoken for a
don't
long
listen.
time.
They just want
Mr.
to.
Sharma, you've spoken
you
for
know,
a long
impose
time.
things.
I have listened you
Mr. Sharma,
because
you have heard for. I'll let Sumit also answer. He's also from your side. He will, in fact, support whatever you have also said. Sumit, do you think this is the case, as Mr. Satish Singh brought out?
I think I'll just allow me to make 4-5 quick points.
Quick.
First of all, Vineet, Muslims have been exploited in India for the last 70 years in the name of secularism. That is given. Congress has done nothing for Muslims. कुछ नहीं किया उनके लिए. Point number 2, you see, this CA has nothing to do with the Indian Muslims, Hindus, Jews or Christians. It has nothing to do with Indian citizens as such. It's only about those persecuted minorities over there. Now the argument which is brought in is, why not Muslim? Sir, all these 3 countries which have been named are Islamic theocracies, and their minorities are persecuted in the name of religion.
That's right.
While as if you are a Hindu, which is the other country, you will go.
Alias
साहब बात करने दीजिए. I can shout better than you. I can shout better than you. Don't talk. Don't talk. Don't talk. You know, problem is that Muslims have 55 countries to choose from. Where will a Hindu go? Where will a Sikh go? Do you have answer to that? You know, if Muslims are persecuted there, that is based on economics and politics. There are 55 Muslim countries in the world they can choose. Where will a Hindu or a Sikh go? Where will a Jew or a Parsi go? He can only come to India. And you cannot run away from that fact. Muslims have 55 countries to choose from.
Okay, let Ilyas respond to that. Ilyas, 55 countries for Muslims to reach out to.
Persecution of Muslims took place in India also. The persecution
the
of Dalits took place
constitution, India was divided on Hindu and Muslim on
millions of
1947.
Muslims and Dalits also. Start talking about that also.
Okay.
Don't forget Gujarat riots, Muzaffarnagar riots, Bhagalpur riots. So don't start speaking only one side. Just see, look, both sides of the coin.
Ilyas,
Start concerning for the human rights of the people who are living here as well as there.
No, there are 55 Islamic countries.
People like them are,
Yeah,
also
they're responsible.
for things
They are
like,
responsible. They don't want the logic.
There are 55 Islamic countries, but India also belongs to us.
The only way to respond is shouting more.
Islamic
No, I don't
countries,
think
again you are wrong.
That's the problem.
Only one country is Islamic, Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Rest are Muslim nations, not Islamic.
There's no point of shouting.
Okay, Ilyas, all right, Ilyas, let's have a civil discussion. Let me just paraphrase what Sumit said. He said there are 55 countries for the Muslims to go to. There's only one abode for the Hindu, and this law has been specifically constituted for that Hindu which has been permanently, incessantly exploited, mistreated, especially in Pakistan. You know, let's forget about Bangladesh and Afghanistan for the moment. Let's talk about Pakistan.
There are more than 100 Christian nations also. Why not sending Christians over there? There are many Buddhist nations also. Why not sending Buddhists over there?
They are
Why there is
religiously
Jewish
persecuted.
nation? Why not sending
They are not
Jews over
religiously
there?
persecuted.
Because you are
Religiously
having
persecuted.
enmity
The
against
persecution
Islam and
is
Muslims.
based on
And
religion,
that
what
is
you are
evident by
forgetting.
demolition
The
of parliament by
persecution
RSS
is
and
based on
BJP.
religion, what you are
having
forgetting.
enmity against
That is
us.
the problem.
You are very
There are
close to
15
during war-
Christian
war
countries,
of
55
independence.
Islamic
You were
countries.
Alright.
always against
Right?
Okay.
There is only
Alright.
one Hindu country.
Muslims.
What are you talking here?
Sarim,
Get your facts correct.
are you computing the fact that this law is predominantly meant for the persecuted lot? We are not talking about the minority community in general. It is the persecuted lot who have had to run from pillar to post, even to get a form signed, or even to get a decent livelihood in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan. It is for those people.
Well,
Do you realize that?
I do understand that where you're coming from. And
But
what
hold on. In
Sumit-
fact, let me amplify my question for you. Don't you think that when you, in fact, make it a religious point and invoke the constitution, you are actually undermining the suffering of these people?
No, when you talk about the persecution that has been happening in Pakistan or Afghanistan and Bangladesh, I totally agree with you. We should welcome all these
But
people.
why
because
isn't
of it.
anybody protesting to what's happening to them in Pakistan?
That's
Why
the-
hasn't a single protest happened when it
Because-
comes to the persecution of
bec-
Hindus
bec-
in Pakistan
because-
or Bangladesh or
I have
Afghanistan?
You need
Understand
to
against that.
understand one thing, that
Human
the
rights
persecution that
violation
has been
even by
happening in
Pakistan, I spoke
Pakistan
against
is
it.
not about only Hindus and Sikhs. There are Sikhs and Muslim minorities too who are facing the persecution there. So
Ahmadiyas.
Ahmadiyas, Shias and Balochistan, the people in Balochistan. So if you take them in consideration, where would these people go then? My point is, the people who are inviting it,
Mr.
it shouldn't
Sharma,
be
come
on the
in.
basis of their
KC Sharma,
religion.
Mr. KC Sharma.
We have to see the difference between the infiltrators and refugee. Refugee who are like mostly because of their religion
Correct.
persecuted in a Pakistan. This is our duty. We are not doing any favor to them. This is our duty to give them the equal rights and
It is a humanitarian gesture.
citizenship, because this is what we have promised.
Right.
And another part is infiltrators. There are the lakhs of the people, millions of the people in India. They came to the India without taking a permission, without disclosing their identity,
Well, that's a
based on
different-
malafide
yeah.
intention,
That's a
or
different
to
matter.
take the some economic benefit or some other benefits. They are in
Like the
India,
Aryans.
so we have to distinct between these
like
two
the
things.
Aryans also.
And another thing, in a Pakistan,
that.
no
What do you
Muslim,
mean? What do you mean
no
Aryans?
Muslim
What do
is
you mean? What are you
persecuted
talking about?
because
Aryans.
of religion. No Muslim in a Pakistan is persecuted because of Muslim.
Infiltrated
They
by
are.
Aryans.
I agree in
Infiltrated
Balochistan
by
because of
Aryans.
politics,
We need to
because they do
remember
not
that
like
history also,
Balochistan,
please.
so they are against the Balochistan Muslims. The same thing happening in Sindh. They do not like, because that's a Pakistan is prominently Punjabi dominated Muslims, so they do not like the Sindh. So we cannot accept all Muslims of the Pakistan. If that is the
okay,
case, then
okay,
we
all
can-
right,
then
all right.
let's
Okay,
let's
Satish
include
Kissing.
the entire Pakistan in
All right,
India.
Satish Kissing, go ahead.
So we,
What is happening is there is a sense of fear, there is a sense of anxiety. Why you are allowing this drift to take place? Why aren't you going for CBMs?
Sir,
Just go for a reach out and things will cool down.
agree. Let me
It's
answer.
all
Sir,
happening
let me
because
answer-
of
When
the
you say
fear
reach
factor.
out,
Sir, let
Mr.
me
Singh, when
answer
you
your-
say reach
your
out,
question is
hold
very
on.
valid
When you
question.
say reach
Half
out,
minute, half
by
minute,
whom?
please.
By whom?
By the political parties, if not by all political parties,
half minute,
the
please.
party,
By those who
one
made the
minute,
law.
the party in power at center. Yes.
The parliament
Sir,
made the
sir,
law.
sir, sir,
You know,
please,
see,
one
Elected
minute.
by the
Sir,
elected
one
by the
minute,
people
one
of this
minute.
country.
Honorable
you're taking
panelists
those
made a
debating
very
points.
important
One second,
decision.
one second,
Only
please,
BJP
please,
made the law.
please, bolne dijiye.
There were many
Let him
against
finish.
the law
One
against
minute.
Parliament also.
Parliament laws are passed, you know. There were many instances the Supreme Court has struck down the laws passed by the Parliament, and similarly,
Absolutely.
Supreme Court has pronounced certain judgment
Indeed,
which has been
indeed.
annulled by the Parliament. We are living in a check and balances system, right? It happens the both ways. So that is not a debating
answer?
point.
May I
It's
answer?
all about
Okay, okay,
May I
faith,
answer?
Before you answer,
resilience,
Sumit has to make a point and then
coexistence,
I'll come to you.
cooperation, and reach out.
I
Okay.
think it
I
is
think-
for the government. If you allow me, then I can answer.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
please.
The honorable panelist made up a 2 point. One is fear. Second, government reach out. Third is Supreme Court intervention. The case is already in a court.
Yes,
the
that's
many
right.
PIL are there. So the people who are protesting, it means they are protesting without reason. They should not. They should wait for the
Absolutely.
decision
That's
from
a
the
valid
court.
point,
Number
actually.
one. Number two,
More than 70
fear.
petitions.
Number two, fear.
Ilyas finds that
Fear
funny
and
again.
reach out.
Ilyas finds that funny again.
Government has accepted it, and government undertook the massive reach out campaign in entire the nation. We have
They should
reached
do
out
it more.
all the people. We have reached out all the people.
What a-
The
what a-
people
what a
who are
lie,
protesting
what a
in a
lie.
so-called
Shameless
sign walk, they
top-class
are
lie
not
of the
even
day, I believe.
0.01%
Okay.
out of
What a
even the
shameless
Muslim
top-class lie.
community.
No official of the
We have
government
about
have ever reached
25
the
crore
place over
Muslim
there.
in India.
Okay.
So the protester who are protesting, they are only 0.01%. They are
Okay,
not a
okay, Mr.
representative.
Sharma, we don't
They
have
are
much
not
time.
like
We have
you
run
cannot
out of
say
time.
the
We have
entire
run out of
Muslims
time.
are in a fear.
Ilyas, you wanted
Nobody
to-
is in a
all
fear.
right.
No, but the
Ilyas,
petitioner
our-
said that they are
our
going to
time-
hold it in 5,000
All right,
places.
India.
Our
Supreme
slogan
Court
is
have to
Sabka
accept
Saath,
it.
Sabka
Ilyas,
Vikas,
let me go to
Sabka
Ilyas.
Vishwas.
Ilyas,
We
Ilyas,
are
go ahead.
working for
Ilyas,
all.
go ahead.
Please do
Okay,
that.
Mr.
Our PM
Sharma.
is working for
Please
all.
do that.
Our PM is
Mr.
always
Sharma, you made
quoting
your point.
130
Mr.
crore
Sharma,
people,
you have
not
made your
only
point.
women.
More,
Mr.
sir,
Sharma,
please
you have
do it more.
you have made your
Let me
point.
finish.
You have made your point. Ilyas, go ahead. You have no wait. Ilyas, go ahead.
The only reach Modi and Amit Shah government have done till now is each पीछे नहीं हटेंगे. That is the only reach. No talks, no mediation, nothing. And that is enraging the whole of India. A billion Indians are on road from Assam till Kerala because of this draconian law against the constitution, against human rights, against the nation, and that is distributing the nation.
Have you tried to reach out to any
Okay,
BJP
Mr. Sharma,
leader? Have
Mr.
you
Sharma,
tried to?
Mr.
What is
Sharma,
the what is
Mr.
the need
Sharma,
of mediation?
Mr. Sharma, please, Mr. Sharma,
Part of India?
Mr. Sharma,
Are
Mr.
you not-
Sharma,
are you
we
not
don't have
in
time. We have to
Muslim
close the show. Sumit, go ahead. Last points from you.
My Honorable Home Minister 2-3 days back said, make a delegation of 2 to 3 people, come to my place. Within 3 days, I will
Exactly.
talk to you. I'll examine
Isn't that an
your
outrage,
thing.
Ilyas?
Prime Minister has said we'll talk. Home Minister has said we'll talk.
Send the message
The
in the
Lieutenant
request.
Governor of Delhi
He
has
did not
spoken to
invite me
Delhi Police
also.
Commissioner
He
has
was one
spoken
of the
to.
common people.
People like Ilyas do not want it to settle because the moment it settles, media business will stop. Media cameras will stop going to him. That is why he doesn't
I
want
want
it
to
to
settle.
settle.
I want to meet
He
the Home
doesn't want
Minister.
it to
He is running
settle.
away.
He even if
He is
अगर इनकी
running
चले
away.
तो 50 जगह
Not
शुरू
meeting.
करा दे.
Ilyas.
Because ये तो बैठे हैं
running away.
नहीं. Look
Not
at those
meeting.
poor women who are there. Look at
send the
those
request.
dadis who are
Ilyas,
there.
application
They
is
are
not
protesting. What has
meeting.
Ilyas
Ilyas,
got to do with
running
it?
If you
ये तो
wanted
चला रहे कि
Ilyas,
चलते रहो, लगे रहो, लगे रहो.
If you wanted to meet the Home Minister, why are
You-
you
why-
saying
why
it
don't
today?
you-
Why
why
haven't
don't
you
you
mentioned
represent
that
yourself
before?
as a
You've been
leader
on my
at
shows
me?
many times. Why haven't you mentioned that
You know,
before?
their media coordinator, I have told him,
Since
why
last
can't you be the
one
leader?
week
Meet
I'm
the Honorable
trying.
Home
Since the
Minister,
time I
who
read
can
the
solve
message
your
in
problem
India
better
today,
than Mr.
since then
Amit
I'm
Shah?
saying, but he's
He
not
is
ready to
on
meet.
national media inviting you to come and talk. So what more do you want? What is the outreach about? यार, you don't want to settle it.
अरे
You
यार,
don't want
trying to
politically
go
to
to
settle
the
it.
running away.
Because
वो
तमाशा
भाग रहे,
चलता
अमित
रहेगा,
शाह भाग
दुकान
रहे,
चलती
मिलने
रहेगी.
नहीं जा रहे।
इलियास,
दुकान
okay.
बंद थोड़ी
मीडिया
करनी है
समझा
आपको.
रहे हैं, वो
इलियास,
आपको
भाग
दुकान
रहे
बंद नहीं, आप थोड़ी
इलियास
प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हो.
जबरदस्ती
वो तो
सारा
90 साल की
इंडिया
औरतें
want to
बेचारी वहाँ
meet him,
प्रोटेस्ट कर रही है.
want to
Why
convey the
grandmothers
message,
are
but
protesting
he's
there?
running
Okay,
away.
what does it matter to you?
Ilyas, an honest question for you. Don't you think that your preconceived notions and perhaps the ideas that you have about a certain party or certain individuals belonging to that party are basically eclipsing your prudence, your decision and your wisdom to see what exactly the CAA stands for?
My only objection or the apprehension is this bill has been brought by a party who was totally in ideology against Muslim and Hindus unity. They already tried to just bring up the communal elements and they try to shoot up the communal statements and destroy the peace and unity of Hindus and Muslims. And this has been brought by that party which demolished the Babri Masjid, which committed tens of riots. So trusting them is not at all possible for a
And
billion
Bill
Indians.
was passed
into the parliament or by
So,
the
who
parliament.
does that benefit?
The parliament represents the people.
Yeah, the bills of
Do
the
not-
parliament
do
cannot
not
be
take
decided on the
nonsense.
roads. You have to also
Bring it to
understand, my
Parliament,
friend,
put it to
parliament
Parliament,
legislation
see
cannot
what
be
they
decided on
Government
the
is for
roads.
all. Government is selected by the
सबकी
public.
government है.
Government is for all and government is selected by
आप
all.
बात कर लीजिए,
Do not-
आपको बात
do
करनी है,
not
बात
make
कर
the
लीजिए.
nonsense.
Don't do this.
LIC बिक जा रहा है,
Don't
Indian Railway
hold
बिक जा रहा
government to the
है,
ransom.
BSNL
You
बिक जा
cannot
रहा है,
do.
BPCL
You
बिक
cannot
जा रहा
hold
है।
the government to
जैसे
ransom.
RBI को साफ कर दिए,
with the LIC.
3.5 करोड़
That's
हिंदुओं
funny
को
thing.
बेरोजगार
He's
कर दिए
linking
मोदी
CA
जी।
with
अब
LIC
ट्रम्प को बुला रहे हैं
because
गरीब की
he is a
झोपड़ियां
peer.
छुपाने के
LIC
वास्ते।
they get thrown
देख
out.
लिए भाई,
So
इंडिया
that is
कितनी
why he
तरक्की
is
पे है।
protesting. That is the
लाखों लाख
illogical
करोड़
reason
के
they are
ऊपर
giving.
हो गया,
Some
भारत
people
में।
are talking
even-
about
that's not even
LIC.
related.
Because CA is
Ilyas, what you're saying is
industry.
not even related.
Some people are relating it to the Ram Mandir. Some people are relating it to because the Modi ji is not talking to us, so we are protesting. So
No, no, relating to every
linked
issue
to the
with the
CA?
dirty mind
It
of
shows
Modi
your
ji.
mental
Ilyas,
level, it shows your
Ilyas,
mental
Why
level.
can't you let it
It
over?
Ilyas,
It
But
shows
Ilyas,
your
okay.
qualified
We can't be
intention.
talking about LIC. We are talking about Shaheen
No,
Bagh.
let's talk
Ilyas,
about China then.
all right, Ilyas, you
Iceland.
You want the protest to cease or
Coronavirus-
not? Ilyas,
Coronavirus.
all right,
Coronavirus
hold
is
on.
because of
Ilyas,
CA.
Ilyas, Do you want the Shaheen
My
Bagh
only
protest to
concern
cease or
is-
not?
Should send a delegation, a valid, honorable delegation. Let that delegation sit with the protesters. Amit Shah, if coming over there, most welcome. If he want us to come to his office, we are coming over there.
Why
Let us
you-
sit
He
on
has
the table
said,
and
sir,
discuss
it is on
if he
record.
able to convince me,
He
I
has
will
said
be
on
with
national
the
media.
BJP opposing
आप
the
TV नहीं
protest.
देखते क्या, इलियास
Let him
भाई?
convince me, or I'll convince him, inshallah.
He has said, you go and get yourself elected as a leader and go. Who's stopping you? He has said on national media, former delegation, come to me, I'll give you time in 3 days. So problem
See,
क्या है आपको?
these are the
Look, let me
excuses
tell
they
you,
are making
no
to
politician
run
is
away
going
from
to
the
go
topic.
there.
Yes.
Nobody will legitimate a legitimate protest. Understand
No,
that.
no,
This is a
running away from
political
the issue is not a
implication.
good
Yes.
thing.
No politician
And
will
only
जाना
running
होता
away
तो
from
क्या
the
होगा?
issue, running, don't
Strategy
run.
versus
Sit on the table and
ideology.
discuss.
No
You
politician
That
will go
hides us
there.
in that dilemma.
आप मैं तो शाहीन बाग वालों से कह रहा हूँ आप भाई डेलीगेशन बनाइए ये हमारे दोस्त बैठे हैं
अगर
young
आप
friend
रामलीला
he can
मैदान
represent
में
them why
Yes.
doesn't he
आपकी
go
बात पे दम
Exactly.
होता,
And-
आप
and-
एजुकेशन
and-
कर रहे होते
ये हमारा
सारे-
भाई
सारे
रहता
one
छोटा he
question
can
for
go
you.
there
Okay, Sareb, one
आज
question
आप
for you.
एजुकेशन नहीं कर
All
रहे
right, Sareb, one
आज
question for you.
आप अराजकता फैला रहे हैं, लोगों को
Why,
दर्द दे रहे हैं, दुख दे
Sareb,
रहे
why
हैं।
wait 2 months? A delegation could have been constituted right, perhaps, in the beginning of the Shaheen Bagh protest. Why did it take so long for them to in
Because
fact,
we
reach
were-
out to the Prime Minister on Valentine's Day? They could have
Because-
done that earlier.
Because we were demanding the government to come and had a talk with us. We were asking
You
Honorable
want the
Prime
government
Minister
to come to you.
at least try and have a dialogue with us because we were protesting there. It's they are in power. It's their
LG is
job
not
to
a
satisfy us.
government. It's
Delhi
LG
police
is not a
commissioner.
government.
If we are having
It's
some
LG is
problem
not a
and if
government. It's LG is not a
that
government.
was not the official meeting, sir.
Okay.
What is the officer or unofficial?
All right.
When LG is
If
reaching
you need to
out,
sort it out,
it's
sir,
LG
we have
is
run
reaching
out of
out.
time.
It is
We
not
have
a
run out of
government.
time.
It is
We have
not
run
a
out of time.
representative
We
of
have
central
run out of
government.
time. We are not getting into any
He is
debate.
not
Still
a-
not understanding the fact.
No.
He is not.
No.
Why?
All right.
He is not.
Okay.
He is
All
not.
right. We are not taking this line.
He
We are
is
not
under
taking this
central
line.
government.
Sure,
We
yes,
are not
de
taking this
facto,
line.
no.
We are not taking this line. We have to end the show. We have to end the show now. In fact, my couple of cents on this whole matter is that it's because of India being such a staunch and such a beautiful democracy that these protests at Shaheen Bagh have continued for a couple of months. Had it been another country, for example, say a China or a Turkey or a Malaysia, they wouldn't have seen the light of the day. Even the next day, it's only because these protests are happening in India, they get to be so popular and at the same time so long.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.